The world does not pay you for your hard work. It pays you for your power to control reality. Machiavelli knew this secret centuries ago, and today I will show you why you are losing the game. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a field you have plowed for 40 years. You have done everything right. You showed up early. You stayed late. You were polite, you were honest, and you followed the rules that were handed to you by your parents, your teachers, and your bosses. You were told that if you just kept your head down and endured the struggle, eventually a reward would come. But now, looking at the horizon of your life, you realize the harvest never arrived. The wealth you were promised is in someone else's hands. The freedom you worked for is still just out of reach. And the terrifying realization hits you that the game was never designed for you to win. It was designed for you to keep playing until you ran out of time. This is the trap. It is a psychological cage that has locked you in a state of financial and spiritual poverty, perhaps not starving, but certainly stagnating for decades. And the only way out is not to work harder. You have already worked hard enough. But to fundamentally change the way you view power, value, and yourself. This requires a shift that some might call cold, or calculating, or even Machiavellian. But understand this, Niccolo Machiavelli was not a villain. He was a man who looked at the world not as it should be, in some fantasy of fairness, but exactly as it is. He understood that there are two types of people: those who wait for fortune to smile upon them, and those who seize fortune by the throat. If you want to change your financial reality in 6 months, rather than waiting another 40 years, you must stop thinking like a servant of the system and start thinking like the architect of your own fate. We need to dismantle the single greatest lie that keeps good people poor. The lie is that merit equals money. We want to believe that the universe is a meritocracy, that the person who sweats the most deserves the most. But look around you. Is that true? You see people with half your intelligence and a fraction of your work ethic making 10 times your income. Why? Because they are not trading labor, they are trading a leverage. They are utilizing psychology. The trap you are in is the employee mindset, even if you run your own business. It is the belief that you are paid for your time. But the wealthy know that you are paid for the magnitude of the problems you solve, and more importantly, the perception of your value. Machiavelli wrote that everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. In the marketplace, your reality is irrelevant if your perception is weak. If you present yourself as a humble worker bee, the world will treat you like a worker bee. It will take your honey and give you nothing but enough sustenance to keep working. To escape this in 6 months requires a radical shift in your internal posture. You must stop asking for permission to be wealthy. You must stop waiting to be discovered. The Machiavellian approach is to understand that power is never given. It is asserted. You have to become comfortable with the idea that you are a force of nature. This implies a level of ruthlessness, not toward others, but toward your own excuses and your own comfort. The poverty of the last 40 years was sustained by your desire to be safe, to be liked, to fit in. Wealth requires you to be willing to be misunderstood. It requires you to make decisions that prioritize your long-term sovereignty over your short-term social comfort. Think about the concept of the lion and the fox. Machiavelli taught that a leader must be both. The lion is strong. It commands respect through presence and power. The fox is cunning. It recognizes traps and avoids snares. Most people spend their lives as sheep. They are neither strong nor cunning. They are merely obedient. To change your financial life quickly, you must adopt the fox's eye. You must look at your industry, your skills and your assets and ask, where is the leverage? Where is the inefficiency? How can I position myself not as a commodity, but as a necessity? When you become a necessity, you dictate the price. When you are merely an option, the market dictates the price to you. This is where the psychology becomes difficult for many. We are raised to be modest. We are told that wanting power or money is greedy. But let me ask you, is it noble to be unable to help your family? Is it virtuous to be stressed about bills until your heart gives out? There is no dignity in helplessness. The Machiavellian mindset realizes that acquiring resources is the only way to secure freedom. In the next 6 months, you must divorce your emotions from your economics. The market does not care about your feelings. It cares about value. And value is determined by scarcity. If you make yourself scarce, if you curate, if you focus your energy only on high-impact actions, you create an aura of value. If you are always available, always saying yes, always doing the low-level work, you are signaling to the world that your time is cheap, and the world will agree with you. You must also understand the power of boldness. Machiavelli famously said that fortune is a woman, and she favors the bold. This is a metaphor for the chaotic nature of luck and opportunity. Opportunity flees from the hesitant. It vanishes from the cautious. The reason you have been stuck for 40 years is likely because you have been waiting for a guarantee. You want to know that if you take a risk, it will pay off. But the guarantee never comes. The wealthy understand that risk is the price of entry. In the next 6 months, you simply cannot afford the luxury of hesitation. You must act on imperfect information. You must launch the project, make the call, demand the raise, or start the venture before you feel ready. The feeling of readiness is a mirage. It is the horizon that moves as you approach it. The bold man acts, and in acting, he shapes reality to his will. The timid man waits, and in waiting, he is shaped by reality. Let's talk about the nice guy trap. Many of us believe that if we are just nice enough, people will give us what we want. This is a childhood fantasy. In the real world of business and wealth generation, being nice without having power makes you a victim. This doesn't mean you should be cruel. It means you must be respected first and liked second. When you prioritize being liked, you negotiate poorly. You accept less than you are worth because you don't want to create conflict. You stay in a dead-end job because you feel loyal to a boss who would replace you in a week. Machiavellian psychology teaches us that it is better to be feared, or let's say respected, than loved if you cannot be both. Respect commands a premium. Love is often expected for free. When you walk into a room, do you radiate the energy of someone who needs something, or someone who has something to offer? The difference is subtle, but it is the difference between poverty and wealth. Now, how does this happen in 6 months? It happens by compressing time. You stop doing the things that yield low returns. You become ruthlessly selective. The poverty trap is often a trap of busyness. You are so busy keeping the ship afloat that you never have time to fix the rudder. You must stop. You must step back. You must look at your life like a chessboard. Which pieces are you moving that have no effect on the game? Stop moving them. Focus entirely on the moves that attack the center. This might mean learning a high-income skill aggressively for 3 months. It might mean rebranding yourself. It might mean cutting off toxic relationships that drain your energy. Because energy is the fuel for wealth. If you are surrounded by people who think small, who complain, who view the world as a place of scarcity, you will absorb that poverty. You must protect your mind like a fortress. You have to accept that the world is not fair, but it is malleable. It can be bent, but it requires a strong hand to bend it. The reason this path leads to wealth in 6 months is not because it is magic, but because it removes the friction of hesitation and the weight of other people's expectations. When you stop caring what the neighbors think, you save a fortune in energy. When you stop trying to please everyone, you have the resources to please the only person who matters in this equation, the future version of yourself. Consider the silence of your own potential. For years you have suppressed your ambition because you didn't want to seem arrogant. You silenced your intuition because it contradicted the status quo. Machiavellian psychology is the permission slip to unleash that ambition. It is the understanding that the world is a theatre, and you can choose the role you play. You have played the role of the struggling noble worker for 40 years. Has it served you? Has it given you the life you want? If the answer is no, then the script must be burned. In these next 6 months, you are going to feel uncomfortable. You are going to feel like an imposter. That is good. That means you are growing into a new skin. You will have to negotiate hard. You will have to say no to people who are used to hearing yes. You will have to put a price tag on your time that makes you flinch. But this is the fire through which you must walk. The gold is not found in the safety of the riverbank. It is found in the deep, dangerous current.